وارسله الى الناس بشيرا ونذيرا وعلى اله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم اغفر لنا ولشيخنا ولوالدينا ومشايخنا وسائر المسلمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بعلم ينفعنا وزدنا علمنا وزدنا بعلم ينفعنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال علامة ربي ولده انه الشعر ولا زلة به في القراءة واختلاف التنويحا هو عنوان عن الفضل وما احسن الشعر اذا لم يبتدأ بعد اهل الفضل من يقص سواء المؤلفين او من عرف صوتك. انا لا اختار تنبيل يد قدرها اجمل من تلك القبل ان جزتني عملي لسكت في بها ولا في يدي الرجل.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We stopped at wisdom number 15, correct? Now we will move on to wisdom number 16. We request from the crowd, inshallah ta'ala, to be completely silent, because in the majalis, in sessions of ilm, we should not be speaking. It should be as quiet. This room that we're in right now, the masjid that we're in right now, should be as quiet to the point that you can hear a pencil drop. Somebody drops their pencil, the whole room can hear it. That's how quiet it should be. Like wisdom number 16. Wisdom number 16. Although it's a pretty awkward place to end it, we were hoping that we could do this wisdom number 16 last night, because it's connected to wisdom number 15. But maybe we'll perhaps review wisdom number 15. Because wisdom number 16, without wisdom number 15, seems a bit naked. Right? We said that wisdom number 15 is that a person should strive to what? To what? To perfect grammar in any language, in your mother language and all the languages. Alright? So you should focus on linguistics. Wisdom number 16 is that you should aspire to become a poet. Meaning you should try your best to put together poetry. Now what is the purpose of poetry? Poetry, and it has been narrated from the Prophet وَإِنَّ مِنَ الشِّعْرِ لَحِكْمَةً. Although there's some speech regarding the authenticity of this hadith. Also, he says that from poetry, and in poetry, there's a type of wisdom. So sometimes poetry could be wisdom, but sometimes poetry could lead a person to matters that are not befitting. As Allah Azza wa Jalla, what did He say in the Quran, in Surah Al-Shu'ara? In the chapter of the poets, what did He say? وَالشُّعَرَاءُ يَتَّبِعُهُمُ الْغَاوُونَ أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّهُمْ فِي كُلِّ وَادٍ يَهِيمُونَ. That the shu'ara, the poets, they jump on a different bandwagon every time, right? وَأَنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ مَا لَا يَفْعَلُونَ. They're saying things and they do the exact opposite. One ruler comes, praises him. Another ruler ousts him, who's his ops, that's his enemy. He starts talking trash about the first one and starts praising the second one. Based off of what the weather is, that's what they're going to go with. So poetry is something that is subjective. It's a tool that you can use for good or bad. It can be something that is praiseworthy, it can be something that is blameworthy. But why is he saying here to put together poetry if it has elements of blameworthiness? The reason why he's saying this is because somebody who tries to put together poetry is using his intellect, right? He's using his intellect to become creative. And that is something that is good. That is something that is generally praiseworthy. So try your best to put together some poetry, right? Especially in the Arabic language. Now, that is wisdom number 16. Now, remember we said that it is very rare to find a scholar who is very good at poetry. Usually the scholars of poetry wasn't that good. And the poets, a lot of times, sometimes their religion is in question, right? Now we did say yesterday that one of these scholars, besides the author, he was a great poet and he was a great what? Scholar. What's his name? Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i was such a great poet. You know what he says about himself? He says, وَلَوْلَا الشِّعْرُ بِالْعُلَمَاءِ يُزْنِي لَكُنْتُ الْيَوْمَ أَشْعَرَ مِنْ لَبِيدِي. He said, if it wasn't for that poetry brings down the status of the scholars. Today I would have been a greater poet than Labid. Who is Labid? Labid is one of the great Arab poets of all times. One of the great Arab poets of all time. His name is Labid ibn Rabi' al-Amiri. He has one of the 7 mu'allaqat, one of the 7 classical poems that used to be posted on the Kaaba. Used to hang from the Kaaba, allegedly. Right? Now how great these poems was. Labid is one of the 7. And Labid was one of the 7 who accepted Islam. He accepted Islam during the year of conquest. And he stopped poetry altogether. Except one line in which the Prophet ﷺ he praised. The Prophet ﷺ he said, as narrated by Bukhari, he said, أصدق كلمة قالت العرب قول لبيد ألا كل شيء ما خلا الله باطل. Right? He said that everything outside of Allah, anything that is done outside of Allah is indeed batil. Now this Labid, who the Prophet ﷺ said, the greatest line of poetry ever. Right? What did the Shafi'i say? I would have been better than him. But poetry brings a scholar down. That's why the Shafi'i didn't put together a lot of poetry. So sometimes, this shows us, right? Sometimes, even though something may be inherently good, if a group of people become known for that matter, that could be good, it's best to avoid it. So poets during the time of Imam Shafi'i, until today, they're kind of the same, right? Right? Today, we replace poets, right? In this particular culture, right? We know who. We don't need to mention, and we know what type of vulgar language they use. The point is, a shir has negative connotation, has positive connotation. It is something that is good if you're using it for your linguistics and your creativity. Other than that, you should completely avoid it if you are unable to restrict yourself and unable to be ethical. Now, that is wisdom number 16. Wisdom number 17. He says, I will never kiss another man's hand. I won't kiss another man's what? أنا لا أختار تقبيل يدي. I won't kiss another man's hand. Right? قطعها أجمل من تلك القوة. I'd rather have my hand cut off than go and try to kiss another person's hand. Is this completely true? Is he referring to everyone? Or is he referring to what? Certain people. Obviously, your parents, your teachers, the elders. No, you should kiss their forehead. You should kiss their hands. Right? This is something good. This is a sign of respect. Especially in certain cultures. Maybe our culture is not like that. But in certain cultures, if the son does not kiss the father in the forehead and on his hand, lost. That's it. He's done. Right? But in our culture, maybe it may not be the same unless they get to a certain age, right? But you guys with me, right? He's talking about being a fanboy, right? He's talking about putting everybody up. This person's not your parents, and he's not your what? He's not your teachers. He's not from the elders that is respected. He's just another dude. Today, what do we have? We see a celebrity walking. What's going to happen? If a celebrity walked in right now, everybody's going to forget the dust. And they're going to go and try to take a what? A selfie. Meaning that you should have dignity. If the person has no value, just a celebrity. Even if the person is a good person. That person may be a good person. Why go and put your dignity down? A Muslim should have dignity. Don't go fanboying after anyone. No matter who it is. Alright? You guys with me, right? He says, I'd rather... Today, obviously, people don't kiss hands. I say today, right? If I were to put together a line of poetry, but I don't have the type of... I got that bars. But if I would replace kissing, what taking a picture, taking a selfie? Taking a selfie with some celebrity or some well-known person, right? Unless they are somebody who directly impacts your life, that is not something that is praiseworthy. You should have some type of dignity. That doesn't mean you don't respect the person. That doesn't mean you don't give salam to anyone. But it means over-exaggerating somebody's what? Status. No, we shouldn't do that. We should respect people at a certain level. Not above their level, not beneath their level. You guys with me, right? Now,
أحسن الله إليك شيخ. إن جزتني عمتي حسبت فيه رقها ولا يكفيني الخجل.
Now, here he says wisdom number 18. Alright? Meaning that if he praises someone here, wisdom number 18 or 17, wisdom number 18. If you praise someone, you essentially become their prisoner. Right? Especially if it's in the form of poetry. Meaning you shouldn't just praise everyone. If your praise is to everyone, you become a slave to that person in the sense that, what? Now this person, he thinks that you're what? He thinks that you look to him as high. So don't praise anyone. Also, we shouldn't be praising. As Muslims, we don't praise. If we're going to praise someone, we do it behind their what? Back, or we express gratitude, and that's it. We express our gratitude. We say, Jazakallah, barakallah. We don't praise the person in front of them. What should we do? Take sand and what? Throw it in their face. Because what happens when you praise a person? What happens to the person? He gets self-amazing, urgent. That urgent slowly turns into ghurur, self-deceit, conceit. He thinks he's all that. Ghurur turns into kibr, turns into arrogance. Where to start from? Praise. Enmity. Right? So don't praise anyone, and if you praise anyone, what's going to happen? You're going to become that person's person. You want to be a free bird. Don't become anybody's person. Don't praise anyone. And if somebody's doing a thing, praise them behind their back and express gratitude for us. There are certain scenarios where you're allowed to praise, but those are the exception and not the rule.
أعذب الألفاظ قولي لا تأخذ وأمر اللفظ نطقي بالله.
This line of poetry has two wisdoms. Wisdom number 19, the first one. He says, the best speech is when you tell a person, or the best act, you can say the best act, is when you tell a person to take. What does he mean by this? He means always be the one who gives and be the one who never takes. Give and never take. اليد العليا خير من اليد السفلى كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The higher hand is better than the lower hand. Always give, never take. Never ask for anything, but always be ready to give, even if it needs to sacrifice yourself. This is the last cup of water, right? Give it to the other person. You don't drink anymore. You stay thirsty, right? That's better. Always give, never take. What did the Prophet ﷺ tell us? He told us, "Izhad fīmā 'inda an-nās yuhibbuka an-nās." If you don't take anything from anybody, people will love you. People love the people who don't take anything from them, right? Some people, when they call you, what happens? He's going to ask for something. A human being doesn't like when he's asked. It gets overwhelming. Some people, when they call you, you're going to pick up right away because every time he's giving you something, right? Be the one that when a person calls you or reaches out, everybody looks forward to reaching out to them. Why? Because you always give and never take. Give and never take. There's a certain level of satisfaction you have when you always give. And there's a certain level of independence and honor and dignity when you never take. So that is wisdom number what? 19. Wisdom number 20. وَأَمَرُ اللَّفْظِ نُطْقِي بِالْعَلِمِ. Brothers and sisters, can we pay attention, especially in our culture? We talk a lot, right? We talk a lot. We say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. We make a lot of false and empty promises. We say a lot of things. And we end up doing nothing. What do we have to show for it? We end up doing nothing. We really think of ourselves as very high. In reality, we're nothing. People have a perception that we're very, very successful to a certain degree. In reality, we know ourselves. We're perception sometimes, right, is different from reality. He says here, never, always confirm. Always leave a room for what? Always leave a room for doubt. Anything can happen. Say use la'al, say perhaps. Don't always be confident in saying something, right? No. So, that is important. But what is it that Allah trying to mention? He is trying to say here, when somebody is 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and he never commits to anything, that's also another problem. You guys see both extremes. The other extreme is when somebody who never commits to anything, and he's always one foot in, one foot out. He's always saying, inshallah, I'm going to see, we're going to look at it, we're going to try to look at it. No, if you're going to commit to something, then sure you do it 100%. And at the same time, always leave a room for error as well. Yeah, that is wisdom number what?
ملك كسرى عنه تغني كسرته وعن البحر استزاء بالرشد يعتبر نحن قسمنا بينهم تلقى في الحق وفي الحق نزل ليس ما يكون الفتى من عزمه إلى ولا ما فات يوم بالكسل اطرح الدنيا فمن عادتها تخفيف العالي وتعلم السفل.
Now, this next wisdom number 21 is referring to the dunya. How do you look at the dunya? Is the dunya something that is magnificent in your eyes? The dunya should not be something that is magnificent. You should look at the dunya as a loaf of bread, right? Now it kind of sounds nice in Arabic because he's comparing Kisra to Kisra. Kisra is the Caesar of Persia, the king of Persia basically, the emperor of Persia. And Kisra means a loaf of bread. Meaning the dunya, a loaf of bread should be enough for you. You should be satisfied with the least amount of dunya. Don't invest into the dunya. Let the dunya be something you do the bare minimum. Where should you invest into? The akhirah. Don't be a trillionaire or a billionaire in the dunya. Try to be a trillionaire and a billionaire in the what? In the akhirah. Rack up ajr. Don't rack up money. Don't focus on money. Because at the end of the day, that money is not going to what? Enough is enough. Too much is too much. When you get to a certain level, it's all the same. It's just, right? What's the difference? Everybody drinks, you're just drinking better. Everybody wears clothes, you can wear better clothes. You're doing the same thing every human being is doing, but you're just what? Think of a dunya as a plane. You have the economy section, you have a first class. You're doing the same thing, you're just ahead. So you're not missing out on anything. But FOMO causes us to focus on the dunya. But imagine if you invest in the akhirah. Know that نحن قسمنا بينهم, and later on he's going to have some elite wisdom about the dunya and the way we should look at the dunya. But here he says, the dunya has been divided already. Your sustenance is known. So why try to look for something you may never even get? نحن قسمنا بينهم معيشتهم, is referring to this ayah. That Allah has distributed sustenance amongst the people. So don't focus on the dunya. Because how long are you going to live? Maximum how long? 60 years? 70 years? And then in akhirah, eternity, 60, 70 years don't matter. Alright? I always tell people this. The dunya is the pre-season. It doesn't count. Why invest in the preseason? The regular season is the grade, and the playoffs is the akhirah. You go to Jannah now is basically game 7, right? You win, you go to Jannah. You lose, you go to hellfire. Why invest into the preseason and training camp? And, there's no point. Focus on the akhirah. Then he says, so wisdom number 21, we're done. Wisdom number 22. Is ليس ما يحوي الفتى من عزمه ولا ما فات يوما بالكسل. Wow, this is amazing. You know what he says? Wisdom number 20. This is wisdom number what? 22? Wisdom number 22 or 21? 22. 22, right? Yeah. Wisdom number 22. He says here, your determination will not give you the dunya. You will see somebody that is extremely determined, and he has all of the tools to success, and he fails. He doesn't get anywhere. And you will see the laziest man, the laziest person, and guess what happens to him? The guy becomes a millionaire. You're looking at this guy, what? How? That's dunya for you. The dunya isn't fair. You can have the most determination, and you may not make much. And you can see the most laziest person, the person who's not that smart, he just got lucky, or things just added up, or he was a little bit unethical, or something, or the right timing, something, That's the dunya for you. So, don't ever beat yourself. If you work hard, say alhamdulillah. But if you're lazy and you don't get anything, that's a problem, by the way. Yeah, right? That's a problem. You work hard, and whatever you get, you say alhamdulillah. If it don't work out, it don't work out. If it works out, then it's a test. That is wisdom number 20. Number 23, he says, اطرح الدنيا فمن عاداتها. Don't look at the dunya. تخفض العالي وتعلي من سفل. What does the dunya do? You will see the dunya will raise somebody that is very, very low. Somebody that is nothing, he's a nobody, and he's put on a pedestal. And somebody who's great is put under the rugs. Like today, for example, who are the people that people glorify? That they're literally almost about to worship. Who are these people? Like who? Celebrities and athletes. Let's look at celebrities and athletes. There might be some, okay ones, but the vast majority of them, what do they contribute to the world? Besides entertainment. What do they contribute? What do they have? And they're just put on a pedestal. And then you see some people who have actually contributed to Muslims, they've contributed to humanity. Nobody cares about them, they're just walking around. That's the dunya for you. So you shouldn't care about the dunya. The dunya doesn't even count. It's like somebody who scores 50 in a preseason game. Okay, whatever, go ahead. It don't matter. There's somebody who scores nothing. You should know that the dunya doesn't count. It raises the low ones and it lowers the high ones. But in the hereafter, the ones who are great are raised, and the ones who are low are what? Are put low. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla is the ultimate justice. He gives the best justice now.
أحسن الله إليك. عيشة الظالم في تحصيلها عيشة الجاهل فيها وقد كم جهول بات فيها مكثرا وعليم بات منها في علم كم شجاع لم فيها المنى وجبال نال غاية الأمل واترك الحيلة فيها واتكل إنما الحيلة في ترك الحيلة.
Yeah, this is like all these lines talk about the same concept that we discussed from before. It's a continuation. So there's not new wisdoms, but there is a wisdom at the end that I'm going to mention in the last line. He says, you'll find, all right, that right, that the person who is looking for having good livelihood won't get that good livelihood. And the person who doesn't have it or doesn't look for it, he gets it. That's the dunya for you. The person who doesn't even look for it, he's not even trying to make it. And Allah just gives it to him. And another person who tries hard to get it, and he what? He doesn't get it. How many ignorant people have become rich? And how many extremely knowledgeable people are broke and poor? What does that tell you? Knowledge and ignorance, which was more important? Knowledge. So isn't it supposed to be that knowledge, the more knowledge that you have, the more money you make? And the more ignorant you are, the less money you make? That's not the dunya. He says, how many brave ones? This guy participated in 100 battles, and he just never got a victory. And this other guy was a Jaban, he's a coward. But the day he decided to go into a battle, he somehow won. That's the dunya for you. It ain't fair. That's how it works. Right? So then what does he say at the end? Wisdom number 20? Number 20 what? 24. He says, he says, because you see all of this disparity in terms of hard work, intelligence, talent, and skill, and production, and results, you see the disparity? Don't try to cut corners. Because even if you try to cut corners, you might what? You might lose. Actually, the best way to cut corners is avoiding cutting corners. What does he say here? Don't even try to cut corners. Just let life continue. إنما الحيلة في ترك الحيل. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. أي كف لم تنل منها المنى فرماها الله منه بالشلل لا تقل أصلي وفصلي أبدا إنما أصل الفتى ما قد حسن.
I think this is the most important line for Somalis over here. Right? It's the most important line, number 38. Wisdom number 25. He says, don't say my parents and my grandparents and my tribe was this, and that. Right? We this, we're good at that, we're good at this. My fathers were this, and my grandfather was this. Right? Who are you? What do you bring to the table? Who are you? Right? Who are you? At the end of the day, you're going to grade yourself. You're going to face Allah Azza wa Jalla yourself. Your father, your grandfather, right? Doesn't matter. As the Shaykh he says, إذا افتخرت بآبائك مشرف قلنا صدقت ولكن بئس ما ولدوا. Right? He says, if you're proud of your fathers and how great they were, we say you're telling the truth. Yeah, your fathers were great, but they have a bad son, terrible son. Why is he trying to live off the name of his father and grandfather? Don't try to live off the name of your father, grandfather, and tribes and all this. Tribes and all this is all nonsense. Right? It's jahiliyyah. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla calls it jahiliyyah in the Quran. The Prophet calls it jahiliyyah. It's ignorance. Because your whole mindset is based off of, right? People who don't even exist in your life. Right? So wisdom number 25 is what? Don't depend on your what? On your ancestors and your lineage. What about you? What do you bring to the table? Right? Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was notorious because his father was Abu Talib and his cousin was the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his wife was a daughter of the Prophet. You know, so his alignment is accurate, right? And he says, ليس الفتى من قال كان أبي لكن الفتى من قال ها أنا ذا. The true young person is not the one who says, oh, my father was. The true young person is the one who says, I am here now. It's my turn. Right? You're not in the passenger seat, you're not in the trunk. Some people are not even in the car. They're staying there at home in the basement. Get in the passenger seat, go in the driver's wheel, you drive the car yourself. It's your turn. Then he says, قد يسود المرء من دون أبي وبحسن السبت قد ينقد دغن. He says you'll find people that have no fathers. They're orphans. And Allah Azza wa Jalla raises them. Do you guys know the 4 Imams of Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmed? All 4 of them were orphans. They all grew up as orphans. And look how they are the 4 great scholars outside of the Sahaba and Tabi'een in history. Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmed. Look how Allah raised them. They didn't depend on their fathers. Their fathers didn't even exist in their life. They grew up in a single mother household. Look how great. And how many people they come from good lineage? And what happens to them? They bring nothing to the table. And you know, subhanAllah, sunnatullah fi arda. Sunnatullah fi arda is that usually people come from good lineage. What happens? You guys know the cycle, right? Good times create what? Weak men create. Hard times create. Strong men create. Hard times create strong men. That's the cycle usually. So when the fathers were successful, the children get lazy, the generation after them, what happens to them? Lost. Then times get tough, orphans, a lot of this stuff. You know, a lot of things go wrong. Then again, they come back up and they come back. So you see the 5th guy was good, the 1st guy was, you know, every 3-4 guys there's a couple. That's how it usually works. And there's some exceptions, right? But usually that's how it works. It's the sooner light Curating. So you'll find everything. Not everything is based off of your lineage. So focus on yourself.
إنما المرء من الشوك وما يمقت النرجس إلا من مسن غير إني أحمد الله على تسبيح بأبي بكر التصدي.
He says a nice little. He says so. Wisdom number 20 was it 26 or 25? 26 was what? Don't focus on your lineage, right? He gives a nice analogy here. He says a flower. Where does it come from? A flower comes from what? A thorn. Meaning, it comes out from the thorn. The flower is nice, meaning the sun is nice, but the thorn is what? The thorn, the father is not that good. And the opposite is true, all right? The Lineage, which is a type of flower, right, comes from what? Onions. Yeah, the father is bad, but the flower is good. So you find either. So lineage does not mean anything, all right? But you know what he says? He's still got to put his lineage on. He says, despite that, alhamdulillah, my nasr goes back to Abu Bakr. Ibn al-Wardī is a great grandson of Abu Bakr. He's back to Taymi, Porsche. Right? Labas, if a person is great and his forefathers were great, that's nice. Yusuf, Ibn Yaqub, Ibn Ishaq, Ibn Ibrahim. Right? Kareem, Ibn Kareem, Ibn Kareem, Ibn Kareem. Right? Right? العلم يرفع أقواما بلا حسب فكيف من كان لا علم له حسب. They say knowledge raises a person who has no status, no lineage, no nothing. But if status and lineage and knowledge come together, that's a dangerous combo. That's what you can't. It's unstoppable, right? That's like Umar al-Khattab and his son Abdullah. It's unstoppable. Ali ibn Abi Talib and his son Al-Hasan. You can't do nothing about it, right? But that's rare. That's a rare occasion. It usually doesn't happen. Usually, it doesn't happen. Right? Even from the prophets. Alright? There's only a few instances. Yusuf ibn Yaqub, Dawrah ibn Sulaiman, Yahya ibn Zakariya. A few instances. The majority of prophets, they're standalones. You see Ibrahim ibn Azam. Right? You see the Prophet ﷺ and Abdullahi. Right? And that's his uncle. And Abu Talib. Even though Abu Talib contributed a lot. Yeah.
أحسن الله إليك. قيمة الإنسان ما يحسنه أكثر الإنسان ذكر أما قال.
This is one of the most famous lines of this quote as well. Wisdom number 27. He says the value of the person is what he's good at. قيمة الإنسان ما يحسنه أكثر الإنسان أما قال. The value of the person is what he's good at. If you're not good at something, what should you do? Don't get involved with yourself. Guys, if you're not good at something, don't put yourself at the forefront. Some people, they want to just be good at everything. If you're good at one thing, two things, three things, go and learn those matters and benefit. Your value is what you're good at. If you're not good at something, don't put your value down by getting involved in it. Just say, I don't know, I'm not involved in it. That's where your dignity is, that's where your value lies. If you want to be valuable, make sure you do 1, 2, 3 things right and good. Don't try to be Mr. Know-it-all, right? Yeah.
أكتب الأمرين فقرا وقيام واكسب الفلس وحاسب النظام والدرع جدا وكدا واجتنب صحبة الحمقى وأرباب القلب بين تبذير وبخل رتبة وكلا هذين إن زاد قتل.
Wisdom number, that was wisdom number 27, right? Wisdom number 28. He says, hide whether you're rich or poor. Don't let people know your status. Don't let people know your financial status. Like, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're this, whether you're that, hide that. Don't let people know whether it is. Right? Some people, mashallah, when they make a little bit of money, what do? They just start wearing designer clothes. They got a nice whip that they got a finance course. It's not like back in the day where you have to pay cash straight. You're financing it like every other car. Right? They're getting a car, you know, a nice car, they're first class, 5-star hotel, and they're posting for everybody to see. More money, more problems, right? And the evil eye is real, right? But in reality, most of the people who do that actually have nothing, you know that. They don't have much. They're just trying to post to the public. No, don't reveal your financial status. But if you're broke and you have nothing and you're down to the last dollar, don't try to show sympathy as well. Try to look like you're pretty good. Look as if nobody. You look at the person. I can't tell what this guy's income is. Just look normal, right? I think I heard a billionaire one time. He said he just wears a T-shirt, right? He just wears a T-shirt. He said I don't need to. Guys who wear suits, they're just trying to act like they're, I don't need to. You don't need to show your financial status via your clothes or via your appearance or via whatever it may be. Right? Just be a normal person. Alright? There's wisdom number 20. Wisdom number 28. Sorry. Wisdom number 29. And that is avoid befriending al-hamqa. And that is people who are not very smart. People who are a little bit slow. Don't befriend them. Because if you're around those type of people, you will become what? A little bit slow as well. People who are not smart, people who are not improving your life. In the deen and in the dunya, both ways. And more so in the deen. Deen is more important. Yeah.
لا تقل في حق سادة المرضى إنهم ليسوا بأهل السلام وتغاضي عن أمور إنه لم يفوز بالحمد إلا من غفل.
Wisdom number 30. Alright? The people who passed away, don't try to criticize them. Especially people, Muslims and righteous leaders. Don't try to criticize them too much. Alright? Everybody has flaws, everybody has mistakes, and you're going to have flaws and you're going to have mistakes. And people are going to talk about you tomorrow. So don't try to talk about people who passed away. Allah lost. Right? They gave what they can and they passed away. Unless it is for a reason, a historical lesson or something. Right? That is wisdom number what? 31. What is the wisdom behind that? Don't get used to criticizing others when you yourself have mistakes and flaws. right? You have mistaken flaws. Why are you looking at the mistakes and flaws of others? No. That is number what? Wisdom number 30. Wisdom number 31 is referring to at-taghaful. At-taghaful is when you see mistakes and problems and you kind of just show the blind eye in a wisdom manner. There's the issues, but you don't deal with it because there are other issues at hand. Or somebody who doesn't read into things too much. You know how some people, they always read into things too much? Your mentality should be at-taghaful. At-taghaful is heedlessness, act heedlessness, as if you don't know what's going on. And Imam Ahmad, he says, at-taghaful tis'atu ashari al-afiyah. The 9/10 of having an easy life is having taghaful. Acting heedless. Not knowing what's going on and not looking into so. Some people, they like to, concoct and make a narrative. They're putting narratives together. It's an analysis. The person who analyzes God, he's not even thinking that way. Or he doesn't even have the brains to think of that in that fashion. Don't try to make analysis and narratives. Just live life, right? Avoid certain things. Everybody has flaws, everybody has mistakes. Don't look into it too much. The major mistakes, focus on those matters. But anything that comes from the soul of insanity, like a human being error, or a human being just have sabr, it's better to be patient. That is wisdom number 31. Now. Now, this is very important, especially in today's world. Today's world of social media, when everybody wants to be validated and accepted. Wisdom number 32. Every person will have an enemy. Every person will have an ops. You always, no matter how much you try to bring, be cool with everyone, somebody is going to be your what? Somebody is going to be your enemy. He says, even if you try, you're like, you know what? I'm going to cut off everybody, and I'm going to go on top of nothing. He's still going to find an enemy. You're always going to have an enemy. Don't try to avoid confrontation to be validated and accepted. That's not how we work as Muslims. Rather, you discuss the matter, you fix the issue, and then you what? And you reconcile, and you move on. And you expect that people are just going to be haters. They're always going to exist. Every single person is going to have enemies. That's just the reality of life. Don't try to, some people, they just want to, everybody has the right opinion. They retweet everybody, they follow everybody, everybody's good. Two people that are opposites to each other, opposing ideologies, they're good for this, they're good for it. That's not how you should be. You should have a stance against you. No. That is wisdom number 32. No. Now, wisdom number 33. And that is An-Nammam. An-Nammam is the person who always has information to report about people. Somehow this guy always has information. But then when you look deep into it, this person who has information, a lot of it is just kalam. Whoever reports to you will report about you. Whoever brings information from others will take information from you. And they will lie upon your name. And they will add stuff to it. Don't be around people that will always do namimah. Don't be around those people. Right? Stay away from any namami. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have one namam in your circle, the amount of problems they will cause you is unimaginable. Don't be around people who bring information about others. A lot of times it's a lie. A lot of times it's their own analysis. A lot of times they make up things on their own. A lot of times there's an element of truth, but it's exaggerated. So completely boycotting an imam, which means obviously avoiding an imam yourself, right? Yeah. How do you spot an imam? Easy. He's always bringing information about others. You know, for that, guess what? Shad, I got some story for you. Those guys, always have stories and information. Cut them off completely. Don't ever speak about people, speak about ideas. Great people speak about ideas, how they can improve their life. Alright? Average people, they speak about events. What happened in this country, what happened in that country, what happened in this game, and all that. Events. And local people, they always talk about people for that and for that and for that. No. You know?
أحسن الله إليك. جانب السلطان واحفظ الشهور لا تعاند من إذا قال فعل.
Now, that was wisdom number 30. Wisdom number 34. Also avoid having a neighbor that is evil. Brothers and sisters, we have physical neighbors today. We already know physical neighbors. If you have a bad neighbor, it's a problem. But today we have a different type of neighbor. What is that? Virtual neighbors. What would be considered a virtual neighbor? What do you guys think? What's an example of a virtual neighbor? Huh? Your feed. Show me your Twitter feed. Show me your YouTube feed. That's your neighbor. Because the algorithm is, even if the account you're not subscribed to it, even if that tweet you're not following it, it's showing you that tweet, it's showing you that video because you're interested in those topics. So make sure your neighbors are good. Don't dwell into topics where people discuss topics that are non-beneficial. So virtual neighbors, make sure you have good virtual neighbors. Make sure you have a good algorithm. Right? And I tell people this all the time. After class, inshallah, open your phone, go on YouTube, write down the first 20 videos that come on YouTube, whether it's shorts or the other one. Or TikTok, same thing TikTok. See what topics they're on. And then you'll see the percentage. Write it down. You see the percentage of what topics you're interested in. And same goes for Twitter. Alright? That's who you are. If 30% of your videos are, left stuff, then you're 30% left. If 50% are average, then you're 50% average. What happened to that? No. Wisdom number 35 is beware of the strength and might of the rulers. Right? Like, there are certain people that the way you deal with them is different from the way you deal with others. You don't deal with a ruler the same way you deal with a normal human being. That doesn't mean you don't have dignity, but you just, you have to deal with them in a different way. There's a few people you have to deal with them in a certain way. Your parents, your teachers, rulers. They say those three. There's a certain level that you have to, certain level of decorum that you have to have. That doesn't mean you don't speak the truth. You speak the truth all the time. Alright? But don't come in with an ego, because if you come with an ego, it's going to end up very, very bad. No.
لا تلل الأحكام إن سألوا رغبة فيك وخالف من عدل إن نصف الناس عادة بمن ولي الأحكام هذا إن عدل.
He says here, don't ever become a judge and don't ever have a public office or like politics. Don't get involved in these matters. Why should you not get in these matters, especially judging? They say because the Prophet ﷺ told us that 2/3 of judges will be in hellfire. Two of them will be in hellfire. And the Prophet ﷺ, he also told us, whoever becomes a judge, he will be sacrificed without a knife. Slow, painful death. Alright? And he says that half the people become your enemy if you're just. You're a judge, 50% of people will hate you just because you're a judge. And that is if you're just. If you're not just, the majority of people hate you. And the same thing goes for politics. It's very similar. But on a lower scale. No.
أحسن الله إليك. وهو كالمحبوس عن ذاته وكلا كتفيه في الحشر تغلب.
That was wisdom number 37? 36? Okay. Wisdom number 37. No.
أحسن الله إليك. إن للنفس والاستثقال في لفظة القاضي وعدا أو مثل لا تزاوي مدة الحكم بما ذاقه الشخص إلى الشخص والعسل والولاية للنوبة لمن ذاقها في السم في ذاك العسل نصب المنسب أوها جلدي وعناء من مدارة السفر.
Now, I mean, he says here, he's talking about trying to get a position in power. Now, what is our belief regarding positions of power? The asl is that the Muslim does not look for a position of power. Does not look for it. Right? If a person does not look for a position of power, alright, this is the asl. There are some exceptions to this. Like when Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, Ij'alni ala khaza'in, right? He said, make me the minister of treasure, right? Basically. of finance, basically. There are exceptions to it when somebody's at the caliber of Prophet Yusuf, or somebody who's qualified, and there's nobody else to hold a position. Those are rare exceptions, but the general rule is that you don't look for a position of power. Now, he says, what is the wisdom behind not looking, besides the Shari reasons? He says, when you rule, there's a certain level of taste that comes with it. It has a certain level of taste. It's like honey, it's like acid. The problem is, if at one point you lose that power, it is difficult. It's like having poison given to you. That is why when somebody loses a position of power and they're relegated to the masses, it just destroys your ego. And you will try everything to get back, even if it means to destroy all your values. And that's the risk that comes with it. The minute you enter it, then you muster the humiliation of leaving that power. Imagine you were the man. You were the guy, if you tell people to do this, they'll do it. And now you're just another guy. How many people can do that? Not a lot. And that is why they say power, al-mulk aqim, power doesn't give birth. A son will kill his father, a brother will kill his brother. Imma al-qabr wa imma al-qasr. Either you're in the grave or I'm in the castle. Two brothers will fight for the throne. How many times in history? A son will overthrow a father. A father will overthrow a son. Power knows no blood. Because if you get used to the position of power, it's hard for you to downgrade. So, if somebody does taste the honey, and then he loses that power, he's mixing honey with poison. And what happens to somebody who has honey and poison in his system? What happens to them? They die a slow, painful death. Unless somehow he gets the power again. And he might do some certain measures that is problematic. So why even put yourself in that position? This dunya is very, very little. Be safe and get to your goal in the akhirah. That is wisdom number what? 37.
أحسن الله إليك. قصر الآمال في الدنيا تفوز فالدليل العقلي تقصير الآمال إن من يطلبك الموت على عبرة منه تدبير بالوجه ضد وزرقه من تزد حبا فمن أكثر ترداد أقساط الملك.
Now, wisdom number 38. Wisdom number what? 38. He says, زرقا تزداد حبا. Don't hang out with the same people all the time. Visit people every once in a while. Right? Otherwise, you're going to lose the love and the compassion between you. You guys with me, right? So what happens is when you hang out with the same person every day for 3 months straight, you're going to start what? Clashing. You're going to start clashing. Keep a distance between you and people. Right? And then your link-ups, your meetings will have just more food. So have a distance between you and everybody. Right? Unless there's people that you have to, there's certain things you have to do with. Everybody else, keep a distance between you and them. That is their hikmah, that is wisdom. Right? Don't always, if you know somebody and you like this person and you want to establish a relationship with this person, have a good friendship with them, the number one way to sustain that friendship is to not visit them, not be with them every day. Keep a distance between when you meet them. Now, that is wisdom number what? 30? 38. 39. No.
أحسن الله إليكم. لا يضر الفضل إقلال كما لا يضر الشمس إلا مطلقا. خذ بنصر السيف واترك الردة واعتبر فضل الفتاة دون الحلل. حبك الأوطان عجز ظاهر فاغترب تقع عن الأهل بدل.
Now, here he mentions a number of wisdoms. Wisdom number 38, right? Wisdom number 39 is that poverty does not decrease the value of a person. A person's value is not determined by their net worth. It is determined by their religiosity and character and their closeness to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Alright? Wisdom number 40 is, if you have a sword, you guys see the sword, right? If somebody has a sword right? He puts the sword in a what? In a ghimd. What is the ghimd? The little sheath that you put in the sword, right? Do you guys know the little top of the sword? You guys know the top of the sword? Yes. This top of the sword here, right? Some people, they beautify it. It looks nice from the outside. But when you take out the sword is what? The sword is not that sharp. And some people, you look at what? The top of the sword, you're like, yeah, this guy doesn't have a good sword. But then when he takes out the sword, now you have a sharp sword in front of him. What is he trying to say? What type of sword should you have? The first or the second one? The second one. Don't let people know you're what? Yes. It's better to be what? Unpredictable. Right? Keep your what? Sword in the what? In the sheath. Don't bring it out. And don't let people know what's inside of it. Alright? And don't also underestimate anyone. Don't ever underestimate anyone. You never know what's behind that person. That is wisdom number 40. Wisdom number 41. Do not love your city and the country you're from too much. You guys have Columbus High? Everybody in Columbus High? Don't love Columbus High too much. Wherever city you're from back home, don't love it too much. That is a weakness, a glaring weakness. Try to establish what? Living in different places. Do not have this love with a certain area, because you will lose out on opportunities. You will lose out on other things in life because you're attached to this place. This place is better for you, for your deen, for everything. Everything is better. But because you're used to this lifestyle, you're not going to do it. It's a form of weakness. So especially young people, get used to living in other places so that you become what? Very, very, very what? Flexible. Now.
أحسن الله إليك. أيها الأعلم قولي عبثا إن طيب الورد مؤذب جوعا عد عن أسهل قولي واستتر لا يصيبنك سهو منفوعا لا يغرنك ليل منفتى إن للحيات ليلا معتزا.
Now, here he basically mentioned, listen, just because I'm giving you these advices doesn't mean I don't have it myself. I still need to work it on myself. Meaning, sometimes a person might give you advice, they're still working on it. But they have the mentality, they know they need to work on it. So he mentions that. But what is the wisdom here? Wisdom number 41, right? Wisdom number 42? Wisdom number 42. He says, do not be fooled by the kindness of a man. Alright? Snakes are soft when you touch them. They're very soft. But what happens? What are they going to do? If you touch it, it's soft. And then what's going to happen? It's going to bite you. Meaning what? Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Don't underestimate anyone. رجلا نحيفا تزدريه وفي أثوابه أسد حصور. You see a man, you think he's skinny, but the minute he opens up his what? His chest, a roaring lion is in front of you. You might think you're going to beat this guy one-on-one. You know, some guys, they pull up to the court, and this guy's not a hooper. And then the guy's a demon. And other guys, you know, he's wearing like a little, a little sock. This guy has everything. He has a little headband. He's ready. The guy can't even dribble nothing. You know, some people, it's about perception. Some people, you just underestimate them. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Beware. And then he says a line that is dangerous. He says, obviously he's talking in first person. He's not talking about himself, but he said, he's trying to tell you to be like that. He says, see this water? Water is so easy going, right? It's so easy going, you can drink it, you can do whatever you want, you can clean. It's so easy going. Easy to deal with, low maintenance. It's not a diva, nothing. But what happens when this water is burnt? What happens to it? It's going to kill you. Meaning, don't mess with the wrong people, because he might kill you eventually. Right? Somebody might be easy going, but the minute you start tapping certain buttons, you've unleashed hell on you. Right? So don't underestimate anyone. And some people, and how should you carry yourself? be easygoing, but then if certain lines are crossed, what do? You make sure you establish those boundaries. But that's after the lines are completely crossed that you waited a while, you have discipline. Now.
أحسن الله إليكم. أنا كالخيزون سعد كسره وهو لد كيف ما شئت تفعلت.
Number 44, wisdom number 44. He says, I am like al-khayzul, right, which is a strong bamboo stick, like a strong, tough tree. It is very hard to what? Very hard to cut it. You have to be that strong. You have to be thick-skinned. You can't let people's whatever they say to you, whatever get to you. You have to be very, very thick-skinned. Alright? But at the same time, the bamboo stick, what is it good about? It's very flexible. You can twist it however you want, but you can't break it. Be someone who has room in which people can work with. But at the same time, you can't break this person. Be somebody who's very, very strong that you can't be broken, you can't mentally break down, but at the same time, you're easygoing and you're flexible and you can deal with it, which is a very hard balance. Usually people who are very tough, they're very what? They're high maintenance. They're elite, they're talented, but they're high maintenance, hard work. And usually people who are flexible and easygoing, they have no what? They have no heart. You say a little thing, oh, this person's angry. You don't even know what he's angry. 3 months, he has to look in his heart. Right? You can't do that. You gotta have both. You gotta be thick-skinned in your mentality, but also easygoing in terms of dealing with people, which is a hard balance to have. No.
أحسن الله إليكم. غير أني في زمان من يكون فيه لا مال وهو مولى الأجل واجب عند الوراء إكرامه وقليل المال فيه يستفاد كل أهل العصر غر معنا بالفتوح التفاصيل الجمل وصلاة الله ربي كلما طلع الشمس نهارا وأفل الذي حاز العلا من هاشم أحمد المختار من سادة الأول وعلى آله وصحبه سادتي ليس فيه عاجز إلا بطل.
Wisdom number 45. Wisdom number 45, and it is the last wisdom. And that is, he says that unfortunately people today, they gravitate towards people who have money. And the people who don't have money, what do? They kind of avoid them. Right? وَقَلِيلُ الْمَالِ فِيهِمْ يُسْتَقَلْ. Somebody who doesn't have money, خلاص, people don't. You know what the Sheikh says? It's so nice in Arabic, but I don't know, it's going to look good in English. He says, رَأَيْتُ النَّاسَ قَدْ مَالُ إِلَى مَنْ عِنْدَهُ مَالُ وَمَنْ لَا عِنْدَهُ مَالُ فَعَنْهُ النَّاسُ قَدْ مَالُ. You guys see that, right? And they also say, رَأَيْتُ النَّاسَ قَدْ ذَهَبُوا إِلَى مَنْ عِنْدَهُ ذَهَبُ وَمَنْ لَا عِنْدَهُ ذَهَبُ فَعَنْهُ النَّاسُ قَدْ ذَهَبُوا. You guys see that, right? Alright, so, do I need to translate? No, I think some people need to get that. Maybe I won't translate, go find out the translation. Because, to be honest, it's the words that is used is what makes it great. Basically, people, the minute you have money, everybody's with you. Right? Back in the day, nobody took you. Now, everybody's on you, right? Because now you have money. Look at Prophet Ayub, what happened to him? He had money and all this, everybody's doorstep, everybody's trying to be his friend, everybody's trying to be around him. The minute he lost all his money, what happened? Nobody was with him. Only his wife was with him. That's it. Everybody else was gone. That's people for you. Meaning, you shouldn't establish your relationships based on the person's net worth. Right? Net worth should not be an equation. It should be based off of religion and character. And then he says, at the end, he says, listen, I have my own shortcomings. I haven't fulfilled all of these wisdoms, but I'm trying my best to. This is an advice to everyone. And then he says, salawat on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and ends the poem. This poem has a lot of wisdoms, as you can see. We extracted from the 45 wisdoms. Perhaps we missed a couple. Let us try to act upon these 45 wisdoms, inshallah. Implement to our life. If you implement this into your life, especially if you got these jewels at a young age, you have to start. They say a conversation with a woman. One conversation with a wise man is better than 10 years of study. Well, this man just dropped 45 jewels of wisdom in the 2-day session that we had. And you can implement it in your life, and you'll see a lot of things be easy for you, inshallah ta'ala, in terms of your relationship with your Lord and your relationship with the world, that you're living in. It's a combination of both if you look at it, right? He talks about matters regarding the relationship with Allah and other matters regarding how to deal with people and how to present yourself. Inshallah, we'll stop there. Hopefully everybody benefited. صلى الله عليه وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.